was going to show you guys my sales for the weekend. I sold just 2 items, and first thing I sold was a Mary Kay Clear Proof skincare set. Let's see if I can get it close enough for you guys to see. And I sold that for $35.99 plus shipping. And that's going to go in a flat rate small priority box. And I don't use the priority boxes very often because it's generally, a little bit more expensive. But I did on this one, and they're just so easy to use. Well, I say that and then I'm going to have problems. There we go. Okay, and I have my labels. It's been so awesome to now be using this thermal printer, and I wouldn't be able to have even gotten it going without my help of my son Daniel. Well, I probably would have managed, but it would have been a lot more difficult. This is going to Coachella, California, which, is known for their music festival. And I don't want to show the person's personal information, so set that aside. And then I sold another, it's not exactly the same, but it's another vintage Maybelline eyeshadow palette. And this one has a little mascara with it that the title on the mascara is like Banana Split or something. So I had this listed for $50 plus shipping, and I sent out an offer for $45.99, and they accepted it. And I sold 4 of the eyeshadow palettes that were a little bit different than this one to the same lady a while back. And she bought 2 from me, and then a little later on bought the other 2 that I had. And they were 2 different styles, so 2 of each style. And she also paid $44.99 each for those. And I had some people, that was on my very first YouTube video. This is video number 6, so that was a couple of weeks ago. And I had some people comment that they just couldn't believe that somebody would pay that for old makeup. And the thing is, you have to understand that probably about anything that you could name, someone collects it. And that saying of one man's trash is another man's treasure, it holds true that if it's valuable to you, then you're willing to pay for it. And, there's so many things that people collect. We think of probably coins and stamps and baseball cards, but I mean, there's so many different things that people collect. And one of the things that some people collect is hard to find vintage makeup, and they're willing to pay money for it if it's rare or something that they really like. Now, I have sold some vintage makeup, in particular some lipsticks that were the person was ordering them to wear. It was a color that they had used for years, or it was a color that reminded them of their mother. It was their mother's favorite, and they actually buy it to wear. But these most likely are never going to be opened. They're for a collector. But anyway, I was just thinking of, when I was a kid, I collected like the handheld fans, the kind of cardboard type, poster board type fans that were a lot of times advertising fans or things. And I had them all up on one of my walls in my room. And one that I had was actually from the church camp that I went to, and I'd had everybody sign it. Early in my marriage, I collected teapots, and I had some really pretty ones. And more recently, I've been collecting kitchen kitchen gadgets, old vintage kitchen gadgets, and I had a few of them here to show you guys. This is just an old roller. You know, you see those pretty often. I like this. It's an old dipper. Makes me think of like the Little House on the Prairie days and stuff at school when they would share the dipper to get some water. This is one of my favorites. This is a churn. Isn't that neat? It's gotten a little off track. I'll have to work on it, but it normally works real good. I've used it before. There we go. Oh, well, wait. Let me see. Oh, well. Anyway, it works. Just got the little tines of that. There we go. Isn't that neat? And kind of along those same lines, I remember, you know, we had one of these when I was a kid. Put that on there where it'll work. There we go. Any guesses as to what that is? Yeah, it's a flour sifter. These work really good. This is a potato ricer. You put the potato down in it and put this down over the potato and squish it through, and it makes nice fluffy potatoes. And handheld mixer. This one works really good. Really easy to use. And let's see what else I've got here. Oh, this is for nuts, pecans, or whatever you would want to put in there. And it chops them up for you. And then last but not least, this is for biscuits or actually donuts. You could use it for either. There's a way you can take the little center piece out and make it into a biscuit cutter. So I think those are neat. So that's something fun to collect. I remember when I was a kid, my little sister collected candles. She had so many cool candles. I mean, you know, they make candles shaped like animals and all kinds of things. And she had a neat album where she collected stickers. My mother-in-law used to collect Thomas Kincaid items, and she just had some very gorgeous big framed art and such. And I remember one time when I was a kid, my mom took me to, I believe it was by the Ardmore Library, and it was a lady had collected dolls, and her whole collection had been donated, and we got to go and see her doll collection, and I don't know if that's still there or not. And it seems like Monty and I went there one time too, but I'm not sure, like early in our marriage when we lived over that way. And then I remember in high school when we took a church youth group trip, and we were in near Springfield, Missouri, I think. We went to Arkansas and Missouri both. We went and toured the precious moments thing, and it was the same thing. It was someone's collection, and I've always really liked the precious moments figurines, and you can find those sometimes at thrift stores for pretty cheap. So just all kinds of things that people collect. I mean, you know, you can go, sometimes you'll go to a museum and it's someone's gun collection. Some people like to collect military items. Some people collect ephemera, which is just all kinds of papers and advertisements and calendars, and probably, I guess, pictures would fall under that category. Let's see, I had written down some other things that I was thinking of. Oh, I think a neat thing that I really like that people have kind of started being interested in is the old china cups and saucers, just getting a cup and saucer from all different, you know, all kinds of different china patterns. Oh, and another thing that right now I think is really popular. You know, there's really been a kind of a resurgence of people being coffee drinkers and going to coffee shops. That's where my youngest daughter, who recently got married, that's where she and her husband met, was at a local coffee shop. And but it's because of that, a lot of people, I believe, that like to collect coffee mugs, or have probably for a long time liked to collect coffee mugs. And I have some listed for sale. I recently sold one. If I can find a photo of it, I'll share that. A few months back, I sold this real pretty red mug that had a panda bear on it, and it said San Diego Zoo. But I have a couple listed. These are just ones I found at thrift stores and stuff. I have a couple listed on my eBay right now that are both Starbucks mugs. I don't know if that's showing up real well, but it's real pretty orange and pinky colors. And this is another just basic old Starbucks mug. And you can do a little studying. I'm not necessarily a Starbucks fan, but you can do a little studying by how the mermaid looks in the emblem. You can figure out what year that was from. And this is a real pretty one that I have listed right now. It's a Kansas mug, and it's kind of an oversized mug. It's funny because my one of my daughters and my husband just got back from a trip. I talked about that in another video. They went to Kansas to teach Vacation Bible School at a little church, and they had a real good time. This just has all kinds of towns from Kansas. It's so very, very nice mug. And this one I have listed. I've had interest in this one, and I keep expecting it to sell. Texas Christian University, the Horned Toads. And I don't know if it's showing up real well or not, but it's a real pretty purple. The graphics on it are. And I have another one I need to get listed, which is from Robber's Cave, which is kind of a local tourist site. It's a few hours from me, but it's in Oklahoma that I've visited several times throughout my life. And it's supposedly a cave that some notorious robbers would hang out. And so that's another thing, certain mugs can be, people collect them or they're worth money. And the travel mugs, Starbucks has kind of a travel line of mugs for different cities and countries and things. Let me think, what else? What else did I have written down that people collect? That may have been about all, but I know that there's, like I said, if you could name it. Oh, yeah. Some people, my husband's grandfather had a bunch of these, the old telephone insulators. So you guys, I'd love to hear your comments of things you collect or things you used to collect, something you'd like to collect, or something unusual that you've seen other people collect. I'm sure I haven't even scratched the surface of things that people collect. My stepdad had a lot of fishing gear, and I know that's something that some people collect. Books, I'm a lover of books, and so, all kinds of books, and on a different video I'll tell some stories about some neat books that I've found and sold through the years. But anyway, I'm going to get off of here now, and looking forward to you guys' comments, and I'll share a short little video that I made when I was about to head to the post office with that other group of vintage makeup and things that I was that were on my very first video, and I was about to head to the post office with them, and on that I tell what state those are going to. And I was going to tell you guys, I'm about to wrap this up here, and I've got the label for it, and it goes to White Bear Lake, Minnesota. And I always think it's fun to see what state or where my items are going to. And now that I've visited, my sister moved to Indiana, and now I've visited Indiana. You can see about that in a video, and I'm going to have more videos about it in the future. I notice, especially when I mail something to Indiana, but you just never know. Like I said, this time it's California and Minnesota, but you just never really know where it might be. And then I'll end with just a short little wildlife video that we caught recently here nearby. Thanks so much, guys. Happy thrifting. I'm about to go with my husband to run some errands and to go to the post office. He's a school teacher, so he has summers off, but we're also over Christian camp, and so there's plenty to keep him busy and us busy. And there's one of my daughters taking my grandson for a walk. But I've got my packages for the weekend sales ready to mail. The two eyeshadow palettes went to one lady, thankfully. And this is to Maryland. I always like to see, kind of keep up with what state they've been to. And this one, I'll not show the address, is the Maybelline Vintage Spearmint eyeshadow. And it's going to, ironically enough, Indiana. And then this one, I don't want to show the address, is the little Pixie. And it is going to Florida. And that's all I've got for today.